Previously on Co-Parenting with the Spurlings.
So I see my client Stephanie walk in, and so I'm going to pump her for some info.
Hey, Brooks, what's up, brother?
Oh, man, I'm great, dude. How you doing, my man?
What is this?
I mean, this lot by itself is probably about 80 grand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then, well, the boys don't do this ring.
You know, he's hiding behind it like he's saying.
I'm excited about going to the family retreat. I'm looking forward to it. I want to hear what other people's relationships are like, whether they be married, divorced, whether they're boyfriend, girlfriend. It's exciting, and to be able to contribute my knowledge and my experience to help other folks, it's a blessing to be able to do that.
Chaz?
Yes, I'm Chaz.
All right, so I can tell the same picture on the website.
Yes.
And that's TWEF.org. Now, I had to go to Facebook to find it.
Yes.
But, man, I am really happy to be here. I appreciate you letting us have our retreat here.
Chaz was cool. I really appreciate him. He was a great host. He did a whole lot for us. He opened up his facilities and he made everybody feel welcome and warm. You couldn't have had a better host.
What is that?
This is some pictures of our organic garden from our last harvest.
Okay.
So we had some kids out there growing spinach, kale, collard greens, mustard greens,
Right.
squash, beans, potatoes, you know, pretty much everything you can think of to grow it. But it's actually for the kids in the food desert.
Okay, and what is the food desert?
Food desert. So right now
okay.
we're located in the food desert.
So that particular area, like many other areas, is a food desert. And what that means is there aren't any grocery stores where people can buy fresh produce and fresh fruit. And there we have the opportunity and the need to grow our own fresh fruit and vegetables.
It's all fun. You know, it's all fun.
See this blazer that I got? It looks like I'm gonna get sweaty. Everybody else got gym clothes on. It looks like I'm gonna be out there sweating with it.
You know, sometimes this lawyer thing that I do carries over to my personality. And usually when I'm gonna speak in front of people, I'll wear a suit. But being that it was hot as fish grease here in Houston, Texas on this particular day, it probably wasn't a prudent idea to wear a three-piece suit that day.
I'm a lawyer, man. See this?
Lawyers can get dirty too.
No, not today.
It's all fun, but the kids love it. You know, it's science. You know, we also work with the school down the street. We love donations. We'll take all the donations we can get. We also love volunteers, so if people have time to come out here and just help like you guys out here today.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all, man. I can't everybody. Okay. All right, cool, bro.
I love gardening. As growing up in New Orleans, my grandfather had a garden, and also my mother's from Mississippi. My grandmother had a garden right outside of her side door where she grew greens, and my grandfather grew cucumbers and all type of vegetables, and my great-grandfather lived to be almost 100 years old, and my great-grandmother lived beyond 100, and I totally think that it's we can contribute that to the diet, what's natural, and I think that like my son's situation with all of the allergies wouldn't exist if we had more natural foods.
So right now we don't have anything growing. Today we're actually going to plant some okra inside of this garden bed. The okra we're going to plant today is actually going to be for the families in the food desert. And they'll be able to come out in a few weeks and actually come get some okra, take it home to their families, and you know, give them some nutrition as well.
That's real good. You start the okra from like the roots of the seed?
We actually used to go and start it from seeds. So right now I have some seeds I'm going to give to you guys, and let each kid and their family plant some seeds, and we're going to grow it. Then in a few weeks you guys can come back and actually see what it looks like.
I was excited to get outside and do some planting. People don't know that I was raised by an elderly woman from Mississippi who had her own garden in the backyard. So, you know, this is something I grew up doing, and I was excited to share this experience with my boys.
So I have a handful of sweet potatoes, right? We are doing this community event. I hand them over to Dennis. Now we're looking like Bonnie and Potato Man Clyde because he has pocketed the man's potato. I feel embarrassed. We're around here teaching our sons lessons on life and growth and development. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, their dad is pocketing sweet potatoes.
And they're all edible, so you can just eat those, kind of saute them. They're a little small, but you can eat them and saute, maybe put them in the oven.
You know, I was gonna take these sweet potatoes and cut them up into itty bitty pieces and take them home and put them in some beef greasy batter and fry them up and eat them in my bed while I watch TV.
I had no part in that. That was all Dennis. He probably still has the dirt on his hands.
You know, it was a great fun day and I was having a good time with Stephanie. Kind of reminded me of old times when we used to play back and forth. So she had some sweet potatoes. I took the sweet potatoes. She gave them to me and looked at me like, what does he want? We ignore each other and we know when to pay attention to each other, and she knows just a light time of banter. And that just shows the strength of our friendship and how we've come so far over these years.
So if I
You can take it.
If I take it home and put it in water?
It may grow, it may not. I'm not sure about that, but we had these planted from last year. We had some really big ones, but we decided to leave those in there. If you leave them in there a year and they'll be at the bottom, they'll continue to grow, and then by next year you can even them again, or they'll still be growing. And you can have some that's a couple of feet long, really.
Right. Do you always have to start back from level zero?
We do. We actually try to switch it a little bit. So when we grow on this, we won't grow it the next year in the same thing. So if we grew mustard greens in these, we won't grow mustard greens in that the next year.
When I get out there in the garden, my hands are getting dirty, I get to touch the earth. My face has no makeup, I don't have to worry about lashes. Gardening is one of those experiences where I love, it's quiet. I get to breathe in the air.
Gardening is similar to parenting in that you're responsible for these crops that are growing. I come from the concept that these are God's children and He's put me in charge of them, just like a farmer's in charge of the crops.
That's like when they put the nitrogen in the other soil and fertilizers in the ground
Right.
to get ready for the plant.
So you know a little bit about gardening. I see the nitrogen inside of it.
Hey,
Okay.
man, I'm a California farm boy.
Okay, I see you.
No two children are alike.
Oh, that's definitely true.
And when you're planting seeds in their life to make them rise to the top,
Right.
you have to use different techniques with
Wow.
each child.
That is definitely true.
She was getting a little tongue-tied, so I decided to step in and, I ain't really know a lot about that particular subject, but
I maybe began to ramble a little, so Dennis wants to step in there and give his 2 pieces, but funny enough, he didn't know what he was talking about either. I won.
Listening to you is just so reassuring because even with my own 2 children, they grow so differently.
Each one needs different care.
Yes, yes,
Each
yes.
plant needs different care. Each bed needs different care. So and it's a lot of work.
What gardening is to me is what parenting is to me. Sometimes we don't know what our kids will grow up to be. And the thing about gardening too is no 2 seeds are alike. And so I may have this seed that is, and I'm gonna talk about my grandmother. I may have this one seed that develops a collard green, and I may have another seed that develops a mustard green. And it's not that either one is better than the other. They're both similar. They're both greens, and they both provide the value and the nourishment, but they're different, and we have an appreciation for them both.
Thank you guys for coming.
Come on, Romy.
So today you start a new family tradition by writing your own book. And you build up your family. And if you can go back, how many of you can go back 100 years with your own family? Raise your hand. Okay, I see 2 families can. Okay, how many can go back 50 years with your family? Okay, guess what? There are some people that can go back 400 years with their families. So we're saying we're playing catch up. So we're going to start so that as your family continue to grow and the children continue to grow, they'll be able to look back at this book. You started building on 5/13, the day before what?
Mother's Day!
The day before Mother's Day, and will always be a special time.
Talking to the families, we discovered that although the relationships of the parents may have been different, we had similar needs, we had similar questions. There were families that were married, maybe considering divorce. There were families that were newlyweds but had other co-parenting situations that were in conflict, struggles with weekend management. Though the structures were so different, we learned that we had a lot that was in common.
they are the only victims. They're the only true victims because of our divorce. See, they didn't ask to be in this world. They didn't ask to be born, and they didn't ask to be born to us. So these are the two people that we owe the most. And so I appreciate how far we've come, and it's important to me that I do a good job with my children. But here's the thing, these two little boys are gonna be playing with your little boys and girls. I like to share my experience. I can't speak for everybody's situation. Everybody's situation is different, but I can speak for my situation. And if you have two cooperative people, or better yet, if you have two people that realize that the children are more important than themselves, then that's the beginning point from when they can come together and develop a good relationship for the benefit of the children.
Children should never be pulled left and right for the arguments of adults. I do remember when we were first separated or divorced, you have those moments of immaturity where you're like, well, I just bought those shoes, you're not taking those shoes over there, or well, Steph, I just bought that backpack stays here. I will never say that we weren't guilty of those thoughts.
What we want to talk about is how you resolve that conflict. I'm an attorney. I've litigated hundreds of cases. I've mediated hundreds of cases. Stephanie is a school teacher of the year a couple of times. And so she and I have a certain kind of expertise that when you come together, we can have some very good insight on how you can keep the conflict down in your co-parenting relationship or even in your household. Early on in our separation, Stephanie and I did not get along. It spilled over from our marriage. And hell, if we were getting along, we'd still be married. So the point of I'm saying is we have come a long way. You all know from following my story, Stephanie and I have been separated, and I have a new son named Elijah. Now, Stephanie could have been a real difficult person to deal with during that time period, but she wasn't. She handled herself like a very mature, classy, wonderful woman, and I appreciate that, because it was already tough enough on me. Oh my God, I got this kid, and I got these other two, and what is this gonna do to my relationship with my two boys? And
when I think of Dennis's new son, I definitely think of Dennis and Roman, Daz and Raz. They are like a left shoe and a right shoe, and they have this cling to each other. They're each other's best friends. They're two My Buddy dolls running. If you see one, you see the other. Even at school, the teachers have to pull them apart. What I feel bad about is they have a brother that looks like them and that they want to love and they want to see. And my concern is their relationship with their brother. Will he be the third My Buddy doll? Will he be their best friend? Initially, my kids did have to interact with a new lady, the new mother of Dennis's newborn son. He mentioned earlier that he has a relationship with the boys. And I grew up with a strong, solid relationship with my father. And because of that, I mean, my dad is probably going to be calling me in a few hours because I haven't called him today. And I could never deprive my sons of that opportunity. If I were to even try to step in to jeopardize that relationship that the three of them share, they're later going to resent me. And the reality is that I feel like I'm a good mom. I feel like I'm a great mom. And quite often when I first entered separation with Dennis and divorce, people would text me, Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, and in my spirit, immediately I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like it. I didn't and it actually had nothing to do with disrespect to Dennis. What it had to do with was that I felt that if I honored that, I was taking the son and the father relationship away from them. I also have a tight relationship with my siblings. I'm the eldest of 4. I don't want them to walk this earth with someone who shares the same blood as them, not know their brother, not know even if there are sisters that come to being, maybe mommy will have a baby one day.
Go on here, girl.
If Stephanie had a kid in the future, she getting a little long in the tooth to be having kids. If she had another baby in the future, I would be happy for her. It wouldn't be my baby. I don't have to pay child support, no diapers, none of that. I'm happy for her. I treat her, come on, let's go to the mall. Here's some little clothes, we get you some little clothes. All right, going back with your mama. I'll be happy for her. Cause you know, I got a kid and she happy for me. So, you know, one hand wash the other, you know. That's my friend.
Nurturing and academics, they share a lot of their hard times with me, and they can share their vulnerable things that they're not, like if they have a bad day or if they cry, they don't have to mask feelings like that. They don't have to be tough for me, which I respect it. At other times, I would say that he is the alter ego of that. He provides them. They believe that they're men when they're with daddy. They believe that they can protect me. They believe that they can hold the household down, funny enough. We both drill books and intellect. Mine are more to build in their math and their science and their ELA needs. His history and ethics and things like that. So
we talk about morality and we talk about philosophy mostly.
Right.
Not general algebra. I'm not good at that.
Yeah. This is sometimes heavy for us because we're not experts at this, but we're definitely experienced in this. So wherever we can find answers to bring families together, we still have conflict, but we close with, okay, for the children, and that's the message we wanted to convey in this setting. So do you guys have, can you guys identify like what's your strength as a mom or a father, and what do you feel is your partner's strength, your co-parenting partner or your parenting partner?
So we sat down in a more intimate setting. We got rid of the kids, sent the kids out to play. And it was just the adults talking and sharing real stories. And for the most part, it was what I expected. It was light, but then one of the stories, it just took my breath away. So we sat down in a more intimate setting. We got rid of the kids, sent the kids out to play. And it was just the adults talking and sharing real stories. And for the most part, it was what I expected. It was light, but then one of the stories, it just took my breath away.
For example, on last Friday, I had to call the cops just for me to get them. She sent them outside with no clothes, told me that I should bring them. And it hurted me. And I called my wife at the time, and because I didn't understand, like, why would you send them outside like that? And it's killing me just thinking about it, you know, all over again, because they had people outside, kids playing, and I couldn't think of a lady could just do her son like that. And so I prayed about it, and I started to call CPS, because I knew I had a case, especially with the cops being right there. The cops wanted to call CPS, and I told them not to, because I looked at it like this: if she go to jail, you know, now he don't have a mother.
That's not your fault. If you're financially responsible for your children, you spend time with them, you pick them up, there's nothing really, there's nothing more that you can't change her. If you could change her, you'd probably still be with her. You know, my heart goes out to you. My advice to you is continue doing what you're doing. Bring the clothes, at least eliminate that excuse. Because what you want to do when you get older is you want to be able to look your children in the face and say, I did everything that I could for you as a father. Your mama complained that she did that to you. I brought you clothes the next time. And I put them right on the doorstep, and I went back to my car and waited for them to be put on you. You see? So I didn't give her any excuse. You just have to eliminate those excuses, and at some point, the children will be able to take care of themselves and put their own clothes on. And you just have to do that. I'm cool under pressure, but on a human level, it hurt me to hear that.
What I wanted to make clear to the families is that Dennis and I didn't get along or function as we do now initially. It took years, but what we realized we had to do is remove ourselves from the situation, remove our personal feelings, some of the hurt, some of the kind of almost forgetting some of the words that we had shared with one another, focusing specifically on what was the needs of the children.
What I take away from the family retreat is that families are composed of many different units and they have different dynamics. But the most important thing is that we're family. Do your very best to get along. Set aside your differences and keep in mind the most important thing is raising happy, healthy, well-adjusted children.
Co-parenting has existed in my family for as long as I can remember.
Bite on.
My children's safety is paramount.
Even when y'all can still reflect.
Is that a threat?
It is not a threat, that's a promise. We will be back in court spending a lot of money if you can't make the reasonable decision to let me spend more time with my kids.